Okay, we're live. Okay, second video we're doing. Kerry's only just mentioned the highlight of priorities, so this is a real surprise for me. So it's a very real live thing to hopefully display the full color of our reactions. Here's a pop.
Ready?
Yes.
So you have just started to slip back into making work a bigger priority than other things, like me. And I mean, you don't do this very often, but just noticing when the kids are home from school, you're in the room on your computer.
Just to clarify, that's every day, or
No, it was yesterday.
So of all the days that, just so I'm clear, of all the days they come home from school, if I'm not picking them up,
mostly you're either in your office or you're here and you're available. So it is unusual, but that's just an example of how you're making work a priority. So, and I mean, yesterday was just not a good example of.
No, but you're just getting your point across.
Of Benny, because yesterday there were other things that happened that, made it quite clear that work is the most important thing today, and work is important, and I get that. And you're the breadwinner, so I know that we need to be responsible, but you're doing great, and I think you forget that sometimes. I think you go into I must provide and forget that you are providing and that we're doing okay, and we've been doing okay for years. So yeah, I'm just noticing that the distraction has increased, the level of distraction up. You're on the phone a bit more. You're on the laptop a little bit more, and you're less here, a bit less tactile, not checking in as much. You'd normally check in and talk about me a bit more and let me vent a bit more.
Yeah, what I've not that I've stopped listening, I've gone into like problem solving mode of what is the issue here, and identifying what my fears are and what are driving that, what are driving those choices and that behavior. And I guess when we spoke, I think it was last week, and we said that we feel a bit of a distance. It's almost been strange having Willow sleeping more and not bothering me in the night. It feels like I've gone from almost accommodating that nightly disruption on my part and going into the day the next day and just feeling almost, I don't even know if I'd say grateful, but I'd like to say grateful to just get through the end of the day and have sufficiently made the most of that day, whatever that looks like. But now I'm not being disturbed by Willow at night, it's just you. I've replaced the energy I have and focused the energy on practical things, on work, on things that make me feel like a good provider, feel like I'm being efficient, effective, trying to protect myself against any of that fear of loss or things going wrong. Really, that's what I've. Whereas when Willow was hard, for me, it was like I didn't really let myself think about that much because
you couldn't.
I literally had no mind space to even think about that. It was just kind of get through the day.
I think it's good that you are enthusiastic about marketing for the first time.
Yeah.
Ever, probably.
And that's had a time impact. Yeah. It's got a time cost.
But we haven't discussed those changes, and we haven't decided, okay, what's the new work time for Benny? Because I don't mind if you need to work past 3:30, like most people.
Yeah, that's right.
But don't be in the room
Yeah, I've got some fear that sounds something like, if you prepare your time to do the marketing, you're going to mess it up. I used to feel like that about public speaking. If you set time aside to prepare to do it, when you actually present, it's going to be worse.
Right.
So that's not even really true. That's a big lie. But so what I've done is I've had some space in my diary, and then I've chosen to fill that with some marketing activity that I still feel emotionally compelled to do. So I'm making emotional choices in the moment rather than having a conversation with you, a level-headed partner, and guide and lover and hottie, to make the wisest choice for the time that I have available. Actually, that's what we could do better, and that's what I hear you asking. Is just not that you want to block the activity, but you would like a say in what is done when, so we can make the best choice for us as a family.
Yeah, I think we can just communicate a bit better about work, and if you want to work more, great, but how can we make that work for all of us? What does it look like?
Yeah. And I guess, if you'll permit me to share a bit about you, yeah, definitely we understood the consequence of you developing a whole new business, and we've spoken about how many crazy number of elements there are into just getting a business idea off the ground, let alone making it sustainable and cash efficient, etc. And I think that has been so good for you, because you're in a place where you're on the brink of not just being mum, not that you've ever just been mum, and it's Kerry starting to rediscover who, not even rediscover, but discover who the new you is after
Yeah.
having 3 children.
Yeah.
And so I've been completely behind that, and I have felt second place to that business, which has been difficult, because on the one hand I'm really encouraging you to, because there's so many choices to make and so many new things, to just go for it, because I can see how happy it makes you, to the detriment of asking you to help me meet my needs, and just being present with me, which we sort of touched on in a conversation last week. And last week I definitely felt you make a choice to slow down with it and prioritize me more.
That's right. Since our conversation last week, we said we're not making each other a priority, and
As
we're
much as we could.
withdrawing into our own businesses, really.
That's right.
Since then, I'm working only half a day this week. I haven't done any of my diploma since we had that conversation. And I've just let it go. I just think, well, it will launch when it's ready. It will happen when it's ready in its own time, and
Yeah.
I'm not quite as obsessed with it as I was, because I could see what I was doing and having that conversation and realizing I'm making this more important than my family. That just really helped me to let go and stop.
Yeah. And as you've just shared that, we haven't been making that time for each other. I get to say on camera that I've already organised a date for Friday night for us.
This Friday?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. Because we didn't do it last Friday because Willow was ill, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So again, unfortunately, illness scuppered our plans to spend that time together, and we just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And that's really hard, Anna.
Oh, bless her.
Because I think you really need to be treated like that, and we really need time as a couple to go and do coupley things that aren't just talking about babies. And even if you talk about babies, it doesn't matter, but the 5 minutes we got at the top of the garden the other night before Florence pooed her pants and Eden made her sellotape glove when they're supposed to be asleep was the end of that date. And the midges that you seem to not like very much. So yeah, so one thing I'm going to take away from this then is I will, even on a daily basis, include what my plan is of activity to let you have an input in and influence particularly the marketing side of things. Also, I can just be more communicate better, that I've noticed that either I want to withdraw or I want some connection, and either ask for that or just make my needs clear. It's so easy to let my needs drop down watching the fact that Willow's just stuck to you all the time. But if you haven't got that information, you can't respond to it. So I think it's just the second part is better communication, really.
Yep. And I will take from it that we need to make a plan based on the new marketing Benny.
Yeah.
And that, as ever, I'm doing pretty well.
Flawless. Cool. Okay. It was a longer one, that one.
Bit less laughy.